Hello. Okay, so this video is my how to pick your drugstore foundation video. So, I'm not wearing anything on my face. I don't know if you can see my dark circles, but I can. This is so I can show you guys how I find my shade when I'm shopping at the drugstore. I only own 2 styles of drugstore foundations. They're both by Revlon. One is the Revlon Color Stay. You guys have seen this bottle like a million times. And I'm in shade Golden Caramel, for those of you guys wondering. I also choose a formula that's for combination oily skin. And my other favorite is the Revlon PhotoReady. You guys should know what this looks like. As you can tell, I'm in shade Caramel. Woo! Fail! And my other shade is Golden Beige. I mix the two. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the video. If not, I'll link it to you guys at the bottom. Finding these foundations was not easy. I had to choose between 2 different shades in Revlon Color Stay before I found my perfect one. Luckily, I know my base shade, which is basically the shade that you know for sure that you are, no matter what. You always match that shade. For most people, their base foundations are always going to be MAC. For me, mine is MAC NC42. I have samples of all the different foundations that I have of MAC. And for me, I would say the Mineralized Satin Finish and the Studio Fix Fluid. These 2 right here are the ones that match me the most. I just prefer this one because it's a little more tan. So these are my base shades except for this one. I don't really use this one. I just have it. I actually use it more on my clients than I use on myself, which kind of helps with the whole sample jar thing. So what I usually do is if you know your base shade, which really helps, especially if you have a base shade in a higher end foundation, because you're pretty much for sure that that shade fits you or that that shade is right for you. So what I usually do is I take the sample jar with me, and I take it with me when I go to the store. Let's see if I can. Studio Fix Fluid. Yeah, let's use some Mineralize. Okay, so I take it with me. I usually have the jar. And how I found my Color Stay, it says almost gone, so it's so hard. Usually, obviously you guys know that usually at drugstores, it's always sealed. Sometimes people are so ghetto that they'll rip the seal off. So how I found the Revlon Color Stay. In my opinion, the bottles are very deceiving. Let me show you an example. So this is what the caramel looks like. And when you, oh shit. And when you put it next to the bottle, it's not exact. Like, to me, it looks very similar, but it's not exact. And luckily, what the heck? So, don't go by what's in the bottle all the time. You're gonna have to, it's like gonna be trial and error for sure. So, yeah, I usually take this with me, and I'll compare, like, I'll literally put it next to each other. And, oh, and if you look, they're not exact. The Revlon Color Stay looks a bit more, in my head it looks ashy, right, per se. In the bottle, it doesn't look like that. Well, I don't know how to describe this, but okay. Let me swatch my Revlon Color Stay. And I will swatch my NC42. And you can see that they're very different. For me, I personally think that the Revlon Color Stay fits me better. It blends well into my skin more than an NC42 does. But NC42, despite the fact that it's really, really yellow, it blends amazingly into my skin. And that yellowness disappears. See? So the yellowness doesn't bother me exactly. What I look for is how it blends into my skin. So when I'm walking in the store, this is the closest comparison that I can really come up with. And the next best one was Toast. Toast was really, really dark. I believe that's the next shade up in the combination oily line. I think that's 370 or 380, the number. Golden Caramel is 360. So when I was looking, I was like, crap, you know, I can't just pick one. I'm going to have to pick both. because in the bottle it looks ashy to me, but it's really not. It's weird. Like, it just blends well into my skin, same way the NC42 does. So I chose a tanner one, so I got both Golden Caramel and Toast just to double check. So that's a rule of thumb that I want to let you guys know, is when you're choosing your foundation in a drugstore, it's going to be hit or miss. So the colors are either going to match you perfectly or you're going to have to mix them. The same way I do my PhotoReady. Because for me, PhotoReady was like impossible to find my shade. I think the closest it ever came to was caramel. Some girl told me that medium beige worked for her for an NC42, which is weird because it's actually lighter than golden beige. I don't know, but for some reason it just worked for her. I personally think golden beige fits someone more like NC35, NC37-ish, not NC40 or 42. It's like way too light. But that's what I had to do with PhotoReady also, is I had to find two. Now, you can either buy 2 shades or 3. Or you can just pick one and pray on mamas that it's going to be right. But majority of the time it may not be. So I suggest picking 2, maybe 3 shades that may or may not be your shade. So you pick one that you think is going to be your shade. In my case, I felt like it was going to be Golden Caramel. I had it in my head that Golden Caramel was going to work. Then you want to pick one that's darker, just in case the other one is too light. So I chose a darker, more tanner one, which was Toast. I could have got the lighter one, but Golden Caramel already seemed kind of light for me, so I was between the two. Now for PhotoReady, I was pretty positive that Golden Beige was going to be super light, but I chose it for the golden quality that it had, which is very similar to an NC42. And I picked Caramel just in case Golden Beige was too dark. It was too light, I'm sorry. Golden Beige at first, when I first got it, I put it on myself and was like, holy crap, I look like a Cullen. You know, because it gives off like that white cast, sort of. What I did was I warmed it up with an MSF Natural that was a tad bit darker than what I normally use. And it warmed it right up. So that's something that you could do in case you find a shade that's almost what you think your shade is, and it just really isn't, and it's like so close but not really. You can try using a darker powder to set it, and it'll kind of just melt into your skin and even out. So that's a trick that I use when I didn't have caramel yet because it wasn't out yet, and I only had Golden Beige to work with. For a Revlon color stay, I didn't have that same luxury, but luckily Golden Caramel was a dead on shade for me. It was dead on, not perfect, but it was the best that it was going to get. And in fact, it blends into my skin like a dream. So you want to look for a foundation that doesn't make you look ashy, obviously. When you go home and you find your bottles and you get your 2-3 different shades, you want to swatch it on your face. That's why I have a bare face today, because I want to show you the difference. So you can either use a sponge or your hands for this. It's mine, so I'm just going to use my hands. And this is Golden Beige. Okay, first of all, make sure the only place you swatch is your jawline. You don't want to swatch here. You especially don't want to swatch on your forehead or on your chin, because typically those are going to be the darkest areas of your face. You don't want to swatch on your cheeks because typically it's the lightest part of your face. The reason why you want to swatch along your jawline is so that you can see how well it blends down to your regular skin tone. Because typically on your neck, it's going to blend all the way down to your body, and you want to match. You don't want to be walking around like you got a ghost face looking like Casper, alright? Not cute. Also don't want to walk around looking like you just faked and baked your face. Either way, it ain't cute. So, you want to make sure you blend. So, let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, so this is my cheek, and this is Golden Beige, and we're gonna swatch, and clearly you can see how light that is, right? Not cute. But I'm gonna go ahead and blend it a bit, and I'm gonna blend it up. You can use a brush for this, so here, I'll show you with a brush. Let me blend in. This is my MAC 130. Okay, so that's what it looks like blended in. Oops. And you can see how light that is. Not cute, right? Okay, So here's Caramel. This is the Caramel by PhotoReady also. And I'm going to swatch it on a different part of my jaw. So there it is blended in. And as you can see, now it's a little darker. So you can clearly see the difference, right? And that's exactly why I mix them. Because this one is darker and this one is too light. When they're mixed together, as I had showed you in the video how I mixed them, they were perfect. So as you can see, you want to make sure it blends. And clearly neither of them do. Not cute. So we're going to do the PhotoReady. Not the PhotoReady, I'm sorry. The Color Stay. And we're going to use the other cheek. Let's see if I can zoom in. Woo! Okay. See how that just basically disappeared into my skin? And you can hardly tell. You want to look for something that's going to blend perfectly into your skin like that. Where it basically looks like you didn't even put nothing on, but yet you got something on, because clearly, you know, not everybody can have that flawless of a face. Yeah. So that's what you want to look for when you're searching for your foundation shade. But again, like I said, when you're in the store, it's going to be hard. It's going to be like a 50-50 chance that you're going to find the one that matches you exactly. So let's wrap this up, okay? I want to go ahead and bring a sample of a foundation shade that you know for sure that you are. For me, in my case, it's NC42, or another equivalent is Makeup Forever's HD in 153. Now when you have your base shade, you want to go ahead and be able to compare it in the stores by the bottle. You're going to have to. There's really no other choice with that. I mean, if you run into a jar that's already open, then feel free to go ahead and swatch it out. It's totally up to you. But when you're swatching it out, you're going to swatch it on your face right here. Sometimes you can swatch it on the back of your hand and to see how well it blends into your skin. But sometimes most people, their hands are like slightly darker than their face. But the only reason why I suggest swatching it on the back of your hand is so that you can see if it blends into your natural skin tone. But when you're actually swatching it to see if it matches going down this way, you want to always match it to your jawline. Again, you're going to have to buy 2 or 3 shades before you find your perfect shade. If you have to mix, then do it. I mean, if that's what it takes to find your perfect shade, if you have to use 2 different shades, oh well. Because either way, I mean, that's what, you know, if that's what works for you, then that's what works for you. Especially if it's in a foundation that you really, really like. Like for me, it's Revlon PhotoReady. And I love this foundation. It works amazing in pictures. It doesn't give me that white cast that everybody talks about. And I think it might be because of the way I said it. I really don't know. But yeah, for me personally, I don't even wear foundation all that much. So it's not that big of a deal if I did get the wrong shade, because I can always return it. Remember that. You can always return it. Always check the return policy wherever you buy it. I know that Ulta's, Sephora, even MAC, and I believe Target and Walmart both accept, or both, they all accept returns on open cosmetic products. So just as long as you didn't use like half the bottle or anything like that, you can buy it. If it doesn't fit, if it doesn't match, then you can always return it. So it's going to be trial and error, and I know that sucks because you're going to have to like keep buying and returning and buying and returning. It's a pain in the ass, I know. But for me, it worked because I found 2 of my holy grail foundations, and believe it or not, they're freaking drugstore. I think I actually like my PhotoReady and my Color Stay more than a lot of other high-end foundations, which is weird. So I'm going to do another video on how to find your high-end foundation, which is a little easier. But I'm just going to, you know, go through some tips and tricks on how to work with your MUA to find your perfect shade. Some MUAs really don't know what they're doing, okay? Just putting that out there. I've been to MAC and she probably matched me like 5 times wrong, okay? You want to make sure you find a good MUA whenever you get matched at a department store, at a MAC store, or anything like that. So, I hope this video was helpful. I was rambling a bit. I'll talk to you guys later.